Hello and welcome back to TED Talks Truth and Reality about the more things change, the more they stay the same. Over the last few years, I've dissected and delved into that statement so many times in so many ways, trying to come up with a simple solution. And systematically, during my previous Truth Talks with you, I've tried to explain what I came up with as an answer. And if you recall, I said the answer to the problem is the problem. Each of us is so uniquely individualistic. By that I mean special, one of a kind, and physically impossible to reproduce. Everything, our fingerprints, our earlobes, our eyes, our retinas, everything about us indicates that we are a snowflake amongst a giant snowfall and are unique. However, we do not acknowledge or recognize this within ourselves. We'd rather join in with others and accept their views and their beliefs and adopt their belief system, just as our president has blindly adopted the progressive liberal viewpoint that's been around for 100 years. And hence, the more things change, the more things stay the same. They are stuck in 100-year-old philosophy that no longer applies to this ever-changing, rapidly moving landscape that you can go to bed and the next day some young genius will come up with a new idea that changes the world forever. I'm hoping to reach out to you guys and get you to understand that you don't need anyone else's rubber stamp to say you're okay. You are okay. Just the fact that you're alive, you're okay, and you have the ability to do anything you want as long as it brings no harm or impinges on anyone else's freedom. That is the key. Freedom doesn't give you the right to impose your will or your view or your ideas on others. It only gives you the freedom to pursue your own happiness, your own life. And as long as you do not infringe or impose upon others, then you're okay even more. But last week I mentioned that my wife's brother passed away, and any passing is a difficult thing, and we had to attend the funeral this past Thursday. Hence, I haven't been able to do my regularly scheduled appearances. And also, I was having difficulty really trying to come up with what to really say during this solemn time. However, during the services, which is an opportunity to be reflective and introspective as to wondering whether or not, what if I was in that casket? Would the audience be full of friends, or would there even be anyone there? Or would anyone have a good opinion of the trail I've left? As I looked around the room, I realized that most of the people there were like myself and Pete and my wife. We were all in our 70s, and we've all experienced the true freedom that was meant by the Founding Fathers, and all of us experienced life in the 50s and 60s when there wasn't such heavy burden of big government weighing down the freedoms that we once had. And I got to wondering again about that statement, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Does that just mean that every one of us is born, we live, we leave a trail, and we die, and it happens over and over and over again? And then I remembered back to my book, So Down in Love, Book 1, Self-Enlightenment, and I realized during that book, and even further in Book 2, titled Freedom, that each of us in the physical form is repeating the same thing over and over again, because in the physical lower plane we are born, we live, we die, we leave a trail, no different than anyone else. The difference is what goes on in your minds and what you perceive through the windows to your mind. I've tried to systematically lay that foundation down since the beginning of these truth talks because very soon we're going to get into the real crux of the book. And I said, maybe what might help me clarify this thing, because during the ceremony they had full military honors, and they had the 21 gun salute, they had the ceremonial folding of Old Glory with such respect and dignity that it brings tears to your eyes when they present it to the wife of the deceased. And then when they played taps, all the old timers there had a tear in their eye. I don't even know if taps has the same meaning for younger people, because again, I cannot project my feelings or my thoughts into or onto anyone else. They must perceive and formulate their own. So therefore, as I sat there, and after the ceremony, I looked at all the grandchildren, and they were all busily playing their iPads and their iPhones and their hand gadgets, and I realized, man, the times really are changing. But again, the same old thing happens. There has to be a death to a birth. And I said, boy, what can I say this week that'll make some effective impact on you viewers, or on you in particular, and hopefully gather others into this quest to begin a change within, because when you change inwardly, everyone outside perceives this change, and you will be able to affect good and wholesome and grateful blessings to others when you are of this mind. However, evil is really running rampant right now, unchecked, uncontrolled by the individual, you. We are less religious, we are less God-fearing, we are less respectful than ever before, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's just amplified because of the internet and the news media and all those things that we have now that weren't around 50 years ago or 100 years or 1,000 years ago, that amplifies the evilness that's pervading throughout our society. I tried to explain this through the term selfism, which is just a one-word definition of self-centered, self-centric, self-concerned selfishness. Simple and pure. I tried to explain that it was a remnant of the physical plane, where in our physical condition in the primitive state, self-preservation and survival of the fittest was the utmost importance to propagate the species, and somehow that remained in a inherent, hidden, unconscious aspect of our day-to-day living, and we just refuse or cannot recognize this. I said to myself, again, what can I do and what can I say? And all week long I prayed and meditated on that question, and I woke up Friday, said, oh, I know the answer, I think. Let me go read my last part of my book, because maybe there's some solution there. And all day Saturday and all day Sunday I tried to make some sort of recording that would get my point across, and none of it worked. And so if I have learned anything, and the title of my book is Slow Down and Love, I just said, stop, slow down, stop thinking, go sit outside, enjoy Mother Nature, smell the fresh air, look at the dead weeds, look at the good flowers, smell the roses. I did all the things that I said you should do. I grinned and bared it, and I said, well, tomorrow's another day, tomorrow's a better day, and maybe I'll get it together and I'll be able to present some sort of truth talk that makes sense. And after I read my next to the last chapter, because my last chapter is sort of facetious, I sort of say that book 1 took me 35 years to write, book 2 took me 35 years to write, and 35 years from now I'll write book 3. But the chapter just before that sort of summarized what I was trying to say in general. And let me read to you the last paragraph of the next to the last chapter, and the next to the last chapter itself. All right, let me get this thing straight here. Now remember, I wrote this book a year ago, and I finished it in September, but I edited it in October and again in November because things were changing so drastically during those days. And so the last paragraph states, today, well, let me put on my cheaters here. Without these specs, it's a little difficult to read this. Today just happens to be Thanksgiving Day. Sarcastically, under our current circumstances, personally and nationally, I can complain and rant about the way things are, just as they are today, matter of fact. But you and I are where we are at this moment in time because of all past choices made or avoided. Each moment in life is an opportunity to correct past mistakes in judgment. And each moment is a chance to be grateful to be alive and the right time to do loving things now and in the future. Chapter 36, next to the last chapter. The flow of time marches on, and in this process, things and stuff can change, which could and should affect changes in thought and deeds. The more things change, the more they stay the same, is not and should not be a way of living one's life. My comments in this book are filled with faith and hope that something in it strikes a chord and motivates you to change for the better and carry forth into the future true hope, faith, charity, and love that our mutual future will flow towards the light of truth and the blessings held in store in the unknown. President Obama was elected to preserve our mutual future, but has lost sight of his obligations to be the president of all the people. He foolishly caters to the self-interest of a few like-minded believers in an antiquated social experiment that has failed time and time again. They blindly depend on him for more government largesse and giving away taxpayers' hard-earned wages, incomes that have been dwindling during the last 5 years as costs of living increase, and in some cases wages are non-existent as unemployment soars, as our society evolves into some strange new world, a world even our founders couldn't have imagined. I know my father and my grandfather, and even I couldn't have imagined what the year 2014 would even be like. But that's another story. President Obama is supposed to be the heart and soul of all Americans, but has allowed personal liberal beliefs to overtake his thinking and actions. Those of us in the heartland of America can see, and even worse, can vividly feel the pain from his poor leadership, as we must face our daily chore of trying to make ends meet in the ever-changing reality caused by bad, improper decisions made by our leaders in Washington, D.C. President Obama's failures, lies, incompetence, scandals, and closed-mindedness is dooming America to repeat past failures in judgment that actually rely on past failures in policy and principles. The liberal progressive movement has proven to be a failure numerous times in the past. Why can our current leaders self-recognize this truth? I have attempted to point out this blind adherence to poor judgment unconsciously continues from past miscalculation caused by addictions to any means or any way to achieve a self-anointed, self-righteous personal view of the outside world. Remember, one person's view of the world is no better or worse than your own. So value your own unique special time and space and cherish every single minute to love God, love self, and love others. You are perfectly okay on your own. Every single soul is in the same boat of reality. This incompetent leadership is tearing our once united view on the principles of truth, God, and the founding fathers into a self-centered me-first enclaves that multiply by the minute as they all foolishly and blindly interpret what is preached and practiced by our ruling elite and mastered by the really haves, the super rich and the super powerful. When people are constantly exposed to following the mantra to use any means or any way to achieve your self-desired goal, as most of the elite unconsciously adhere to, through conditioning and indoctrination, then any lost soul will likewise accept that course through life because they know not what they do. I never intended to end this book on such a distressing or depressing tone, but the truth and the inner guide led me to this point in time. This new normal does not have to last any longer than you allow it to mutate. And the gloom and doom felt by other lost souls does not have to last any longer either. You can simply choose to smile, grin and bear it, and begin to strive to be a happier person, pursuing God, truth, and our founding principles. To paraphrase Albert Einstein, we, the people, know the truth that the world has many evil people in it, but truth further reveals there are many more good people in the world who still remain silent and do nothing to combat evil when confronted with the opportunity to do so. Side note, we are currently in that battle with the Muslim extremists. To put your head in the sand or up your butt avoids that truth. The quicker we eliminate that evil, the safer and better the world will be. But let me continue. I would love to see all the silent seniors like myself who do know better and have gathered the scars from life to join in a better effort in passing back the lessons learned from the school of hard knocks. Seniors can recall that time in history when every American was proud of the United States of America and experienced real freedom before big government stepped in to eliminate and remove many choices once taken for granted. Seniors more than anyone owe it to our grandchildren and our children to do the right thing and claw back what once was honor and dignity of this great nation. They could help elect the right person at the right time. Sitting on the sidelines during the last few elections for whatever selfish reasons is a contributing factor in creating this new normal. Wake up to that truth. Local communities should organize situations where experience can be passed back to the community from the lives of those willing to share their knowledge, skills, stories, and personalities. Some unique soul will come up with a means and a way to glean the value of wisdom and experience from the past. Remember, those who do not learn from past mistakes are condemned to repeat them. If we old-timers don't do it in the present, it will soon be too late for us. The total transformation and decline of America will take place in just a few more years, and each of us must start now to do the right thing in order to preserve the United States of America under one God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. All you lost souls, young as well as old, must begin an honest quest for self-awakening in order to slow down this transformation and decline of America by rising up from your self-imposed unconscious slumber of hoping someone else will do it. All of you and any of you lost souls need to do, all you need to do to break the evil hold of selfism is consciously choose to stop this downward spiral into darkness by willingly slow down and love self, love God, and love all others by just doing the right thing and enjoy just doing it. That is how I ended Book 2. More than ever, those passages apply even better than they did a year ago when I wrote them. So hopefully they will motivate and stir you a little bit to continue joining me in our Truth Talks, and I might have to add an extra day to make up for what I lost, but in the meantime, please don't accept the status quo. Get up off your butt and do something to help yourself. Don't expect others to help you. Be self-responsible, be self-reliant, be self-certain that you are the only one that can do it. And until we meet again, Godspeed.